record.
Okay, it's now recording. So
Yeah,
starting again, this is there are three different types of disputes we currently have in the application. OCC, which is overcharge claims, DRP, which is disputes resolution, and WNI, which is wait and inspection appeal. So there are three different teams, three different support groups for these. I mean, so three different business groups for this. There is one more, which is MRRA, which is mass re-rate, but we have not implemented that, and that's going to be one of the feature enhancements in the next quarter. So as soon as you log in, depending on the role, so there are different types of roles you could have in the application. Let me see. Okay. So there is a Confluence page for this. I hope you have access, but if you not, keep checking that, okay? So I'm just going to keep sending you the link. Disputes. So this is where the test users are, okay? These are all the green. So different roles could be a requester. A requester is a person who creates a dispute, right? Who starts a new dispute. An approver, but there are multiple levels of approvers. And then there are correction auditors. So the process goes through: somebody creates a dispute, a requester creates a dispute, approver looks at it. If the approver approves it, it goes to, it says approved, and then it goes correction auditor will click on start correction button, and then it will say, okay, I'm going to, and then they go and do correction in another system, which is the correction system, right? Like Baseboard, you already know, they do it in mainframes. And then if that is done, then they come and say, okay, it has been closed. So if the status of a dispute is closed, it means it has been approved as well as corrected. Approver also has the option of declining it. So if it gets declined, it just goes back, say, okay, it stays in decline status, then the correction auditor doesn't have to work on it. Or they can say amended. Amended is if I did a dispute of $500, but the approver approved it for $300. So it is not the original amount, it's an amended amount. So that's what it's the amended status. So a correction auditor can also close a amended status, approved, amended status dispute. So it could be either amended or approved for a correction auditor to close a dispute. So these are the different roles. And these are...
Puneet, one question. So
yeah.
These claims and disputes, what is the difference? Means claims.
So claim is I'm not entirely sure, but dispute is like what my understanding is. With claims, somebody is claiming that, okay, a customer that they overpaid for something, right? Then they're going to claim that charges and money, and then we pay them back. And dispute is a customer disputes, okay, this is not the right charge. So, okay, that you overcharged me, or there was the weight and inspection that was done that was not right. It is not this weight, it is actually this different weight. And the rate that you applied, so that comes in mass re-rate, that the rate that you applied for rating my stuff was not good. I mean, that was not right. So these are all kind of disputes. Basically, it's on the charges that whatever the charges we have charged to the customer, that they're disputing it. I think claims is just about, okay, if you damage something, right? If we deliver shipment and it was damaged, or it was delivered to a wrong address, or not delivered right, something else was. So then they claim, okay, whatever I paid, it should not be paying because you didn't do the shipment correctly.
And also, I think claims happens at a different state. I mean, I think the shipment should be still active. They can't like close it. Is it right, Puneet? Or
Okay.
you were Jayanti and Santosh. You all were given KT on that. Did they say anything like the shipment has to be in a certain state for the claims to be done. Can you hear me?
Yeah. So that we need to check with you. So not sure about that.
Okay. But as Puneet said, disputes is a completely different business unit that does it, and they can do it even on a very old shipment. It can be happening even on a shipment that was done really 6 months back. They can even be shipments, old shipments can come back as part of a mass bulk dispute updates.
Okay, Vidya.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Right. Yeah. So these are the different. So I just sent it that this. Did I send this to you? No, wait. I'm just going to keep sending you stuff in the PDG offshore channel, right? So make sure you access it. Confluence, I'm not sure if you don't have access to anything, please reach out to Vidya today itself, okay?
Sure.
Because I think she will be out starting tomorrow.
So is Umesh not having access? Who are all getting the emails in the DL?
I'm getting Vidya.
Umesh is getting, Vinod is not getting, Jayanti?
Jayanti will check and tell you. So as of now, only I am not getting. So Jayanti once again will check.
Vinod.
Santosh and Umesh is getting. Vinod is not getting. Jayanti will confirm.
Okay, because I see Jayanti here. Vinod, for some reason, a wrong email ID got added for you. I don't know why you are still having the old email ID. So, okay.
Okay. So if you want my latest email ID, I can send it to you.
No, that's okay. I have it.
Okay. Yeah, thank you.
So I just sent you, these are the different, if you go to this Confluence page, you will see different roles and process, basically how a DRP goes through. Same thing for OCC, WNI, right? Here I've sent you the broad roles. So if you see, there is a test role called dispute requester, which is 368, right, or 358. And then the corresponding production role is 333, right? So what's going to happen in sometimes some people will come and tell you, I'm not able to see the start dispute button or the new dispute button, which is this one. If you see new dispute button, and you will only get this new dispute button if you have a requester role. So if somebody coming and complaining, I need to be able to create a dispute, but I don't see the button. The first thing, obviously, we are asking everyone to make sure they have their role. And because this is the first week people are starting to use the application, a lot of people don't have the right role. And we have been helping them behind the scene. But starting next week, you have to do the same thing for them. That you go to Active Directory, right? You go to Active Directory and see whether they have the right role. Right? You do the same thing for disputes as well. And if they have a DSP role, let me show you what I have for myself, and then if they don't have the right role, you just tell them, hey, you've got to go to your manager and have him add it in RAM, right? That's what you do always, right?
Did you show them in the Confluence where the prod roles, prod role names are written?
Yeah, I just shared with them in offshore channel.
Okay, awesome. And also there's another cheat sheet Kelly has. I will ask her to give that as well.
Okay. So if you see here, TST, collection approver, VP finance, all this, and then this is a production role I have, view only. So all of us obviously will only have view only, but if it's a user, they will have DSP requester, right? Like this one.
Without the TST.
Without the TST. So as you know, right? Same like order entry. So there is nothing changed on that. So this is something one. And then if they come back and say, hey, I'm not able to approve it, then you have to make sure they have the approver role. And then you have to ask them, okay, what kind of approver role you want? Because there are different levels of approvers, as I said, right? If you see there is an OCC approver, there is a WNI approver, there is an NAE, which is a DRP approver, customer care. This is also a DRP. So which is why you have to ask. So if it doesn't say OCC and WNI, they are all DRP approvers. So you have to ask them what kind of role you want. If you see and then you go to Active Directory, you don't see that role, then you go back to them and say, hey, you have to have your manager added. So these are the basic issues we have seen so far this week, right? Now there could be issue like, hey, so what happens in this application? Okay, if somebody creates a dispute, right? You click on a new dispute here, and I would highly recommend that you play around with the application. Now, if you have access, right? So you play around with the application and see how does this work. And obviously, next week what I'm going to do is I'm going to schedule a training session for you guys with different team members, with different kind of to go over different area of the application, so that they give you how to create, approve, what else in the application, right? But for just a high level, this is how you go and create a dispute. So what I mean to say is, if you create a dispute and you submit it here, you can save it as a draft, come back, then submit it. You can directly submit a dispute. So once you have submitted the dispute, the requester and the approver, and if we add any other watcher, they should all get an email. So sometimes they'll come back and say, hey, I'm not getting an email. Then you have to see, okay, why they didn't get an email. So were they added as an approver, or were they added as a watcher, or they are the requester? So if they are one of them, they should have received the email. Then we can say, okay, there might be some issue there. So then you can say, okay, we will look into this. And then you create a ticket, and one of us will start looking into that. And obviously, once we are doing that, we will keep giving you knowledge session, right? So you are becoming, so you know how to go and look into those issues. So Elastic also, let me send you so Elastic is same, right? So production Elastic access you have, right, Sivana? Just go and search for the DSP. If you search for DSP, dispute number, then you will see the dispute. The test one, let me give you, the test one should be the same too, but it will specifically take you to the disputes. So this will take you directly to disputes, and what you're going to do here is CTSR if it is in, so this is all test. I would say if you want to play around with test CTSR, then you can say CTSN. It will show you for CTSN. If you say CTSS, it will show you for CTSS. And then what you can say is and DSP, some dispute number. Then it will show you specifically for that dispute. So this is the same way you can do it in production, but you don't have to do CTSN or CTSS, and just look for the dispute number. Right. Database access. So you need to request, or maybe do we have? You must have requested for speedy order entry, right? Don L. Did you guys request?
Yeah.
Yeah,
correct.
So you have to do the same thing and just tell him that I need access to production and CTSN, CTSR, CTSS, all the environments for DSP dispute tables. So you should have access to all the DSP disputes tables. Okay, so that is one thing. What else? This recently there was an issue with the dispute that it is timing all right because of inactivity. People will leave the application at night and they go back and come back tomorrow morning. Next morning, they are not able to see the application. So we requested them to clear cache, but we deployed a fix for that last night, so that issue should be fixed. But if you still see somebody comes and say, hey, nothing is loading, just send that same recommendation that you have been doing. Can you please clear your cache one time and see if you're able to see? And if somebody else, if they are still not able to see it, then there must be some issue. Then you create a ticket. Do you have access to disputes, Jira?
Puneet.
I didn't hear that. Did you guys have access?
No, we don't have. Once again we'll check.
So can you again? So I'm just all the links that I'm sending, right? Just make sure you have access. If you don't, reach out to, as I said, all of you should try and reach out to Vidya today itself. Okay. Do not wait for tomorrow.
Actually, you guys can directly reach out to Kyle Didrikson. Let me say, if you don't have any Jira access, don't reach out to Kyle Didrikson. Let me put the name here.
Okay.
And plan view tasks. For plan view tasks, Jira access.
Oh man. Okay.
What happened?
No, Kevin also wants me. I don't know what you want. Anyways. But I think so, Vidya, I mean, we have another meeting, right? UX meeting in 10 minutes. I need 10 minutes before that meeting. So what I'm going to do is lay out a plan, right? And schedule next week a session with all the team members. And then so that these guys can come up to speed. But I think for now, at least they can say, start looking on the access. I would say I would recommend go to Confluence, start reading those stuff as well. There is a lot of information on the Confluence page. Play around with the application, go into R and NE app and create new disputes. If you have any questions, jot down those questions so that next week when you have sessions, you know what to ask, right?
So basically, Santosh, Vinod, Jayanti, and Umesh, in the daytime, the team here will take care of it, Portland daytime. So, but eventually we'll be handing those even to you, right? You're going to do the full thing. But there are a few people for this particular application who are in India, who do some work in India. So far, we have not had any calls or any issues from India. They all are having access and they're all able to do their job. So now, so what I'm asking here is to monitor that DL during the India time, which is, I think they start the same time as you all start. Some of you start at 2 a.m., right? Or what is it, 2 a.m.? Is it what you start? 2 p.m. I think that's when even they all start.
2 p.m.
Around, yeah. So start monitoring the DLs. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a small schedule on with people's name and phone numbers on what day whom you will call. I was going to set up a Google Voice, but I'm not able to do that for some reason, unless Puneet can take time to do it. But for now, I'm going to give people's numbers. Like on Monday, if an email comes and you are not knowing what exactly to do from just whatever Puneet has told right now, and also looking at the Confluence pages, you can call that person and that number to help. But before calling, my request is to ask the user if he is completely stuck. How many people are impacted by this issue? If the whole field is just not able to do anything with disputes, only then you are going to call. If the user is telling, oh no, only this dispute, I'm seeing this issue, other disputes I'm able to work, then tell them that we will look into it and we'll get back to you. Don't call anybody at the time in the middle of the night. Did that make sense?
Yeah, Vidya.
Yeah, like be very careful when you're calling, because that is in the middle of the night and all these people have to work on production issues the next day, so they're having a full work day. So I really want to be very, very, very careful on when you're calling. You are going to call them only if the whole India team is stuck and they're not able to proceed with any disputes.
Okay, understood. Yeah.
Awesome. Okay. Thank you. I will, Puneet or myself, I will put that schedule and I will post it in the support channel. Okay. And I will email it to you guys too.
Sure.
Okay. Puneet, anything else? Did I miss anything on that? The process?
No, with that, I think I'm good.
Okay. Awesome. Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay. Yeah.
Vidya.
Thank you. Thank you all.
Yeah. Please test those accesses and start sending message to Kyle.